All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, SHIPIT Nation YouTube station? It's April 29th, Monday. We got 9 games on DraftKings main slate and FanDuel here. Interesting slate we got on tap. We got 3 early games and then 6, if I could do math here, 6 late games. Obviously, a lot of those games out on the West Coast, out in LA, out in Arizona, out in Oakland, Seattle, San Diego. Little early games. A lot more late games. Going to be talking about it throughout the slate here. A lot of expensive pitching at the top in pretty good spots here. We'll talk through it. Obviously, got Mr. Joe Ryan himself on the mound here, facing these White Sox that have scored 20-run runs against the Rays and the pitching staff there. We'll definitely have to talk about that because Joe Ryan is the most expensive pitcher on the slate, coming in as also probably one of the highest owned pitchers on the slate as well. But how much we're coming off an incredible week over here at SHIPIT Nation. Members crushed all week long on the back of our content and our MLB cores and slate plans, everything over here. I mean, it's been an incredible week over here. I'm just getting back into town. I've been out of the office, been down in your hometown down there in Nashville. It's been absolutely crazy. I didn't realize there was a marathon in town and 2 home playoff games. Didn't even look to think of that, being an NHL guy myself, right? The Predators are at home. A marathon's in town, man. No wonder why the flights were so expensive. Everything was jacked up. But, man, it was a good time. Good to be back. But, hey, the grind never stops. The grind never sleeps over here. We continue to crush and continue to crush throughout the weekend despite being out of town, being in Nashville. So, man, happy Monday. What's going on, Ham? Let's bring you in right away, brother.
Yeah, happy Monday. Yeah, you won all that money this weekend, so yeah, you can pay for those drinks and flights and hotel rooms that you paid for. You were rocking and rolling. I see I got my guy Michael in the chat. I got my guy Gator Nation. Hey, guys, just wanted to make sure that your equipment manager, the Bucks equipment manager tomorrow night, he's going to be busy. He's going to be working overtime come 10 o'clock Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. He's going to say, hey, Giannis, turn in your uniform. Hey, Mr. Lillard, don't forget to get your shoes before you exit to go to Cancun because it's over for the Bucks tomorrow night. Hey, sorry, the Brewers got swept, I think, this weekend. It's a bad time to be a Wisconsinite, but we're rocking and rolling over here. Let's talk some baseball now, Nate.
Yeah, I mean, no better. I mean, listen to this guy, right? He's going to take a little victory lap here talking about, I mean, what do you need to do to win a freaking title in the NBA? You need to stay healthy. What did the Bucks not do? Stay healthy. And Hamwich comes on, being the number 1 hater of Wisconsin sports, comes on here and touts his Bucks hatred because the entire team gets hurt. It's pretty hard to win basketball.
One or the other.
Pretty hard to win basketball teams when your entire team gets thrown out. And hey, I could care less if the Brewers got swept because if you followed my content all weekend long, I rode those Yankees and took those right to the freaking ticket window and printed money all weekend long. No homer takes over here. I'm happy to stack up the Yankees that scored 15 runs every game against the Milwaukee Brewers there. Print money for me. Say hi to a couple people in chat. Michael, Jake Swales, Adam in the chat, Sean Sullivan, Gator Nation, everybody in here, Lone Wolf. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And if you are not a member yet, still have that promo code HOOP15 going on. Get you 15% off any membership plan for life. Get access to my slate plan, which is already published on the site. Our core reports up there, but more importantly, our advanced starting lineups data that breaks out home road splits, our premium projections, everything. Not only that, these shows are brought to you by 4 Deep. If you want to get in, beat Vegas, right? Tommy G and the crew over there. Use that promo code SHIPIT. Get you 20% off any membership over there. And if you are a current member at SHIPIT Nation, you want to try them out, and you have not tried them out yet, you get a free week over there. Check out their bets. They continue to crush it over there. But how much? Let's go ahead. Talk pitching like we always do here. We're going to go 8K and above. Then we'll go 8K and below. Obviously, then talk game by game in terms of hitters. At the top tier, I want to throw out a couple of names. Number 1, Joe Ryan. Number 2, Max Fried. Those guys are the clear-cut chalk of the slate. It's going to be expensive to pair those guys together, but there is a lot of cheap offenses here. Joe Ryan at 10-4. A lot of times last season that we saw a pitcher in kind of a spot like this, right? He was going to be 12K, right? Sometimes 12-4, 12-5. He's about $2,000 cheaper than some of these pitchers that we saw last season in a similar spot here. So talk on Joe Ryan, talk on Max Fried. I do think it's a pretty popular pairing to pair those guys together. Play some of these cheaper offenses here that we'll talk about tonight, but to hit on those two guys in particular, and then hit on some guys like Lodolo, right, who's going a little bit overlooked. You got Garrett Crochet on the other side of that Ryan matchup there. And then talk about my guy, Christopher Sanchez here, who I like quite a bit. Facing this Angels team in a pitcher's ballpark out west, he's been up or down, but I do think his talent and his skill set does have a performance here where we could see a ceiling performance, right, and be needing him in your lineups here. So break down this top tier. I think there's a lot of guys, but definitely hit on the chalk in Joe Ryan and Max Fried, what you're doing with those two guys in particular.
Yeah, let's start with Joe Ryan to begin, and I think Joe Ryan's in a great spot. He's got a tremendous matchup taking on this White Sox team. I know we often get questions in the chat about, well, they just saw this guy last time out. How does that affect him? I don't really think it affects him, right? The hitters are making adjustments, but you know what? The pitchers are making adjustments as well. When you look at Joe Ryan and what he's done, I mean, look at his ERA, look at his xFIP, look at his Sierra, look at his home run per 9 innings. It's just been absolutely dynamite. We know this White Sox team is not very good. They did beat up on the Rays, as you alluded to, but man, Joe Ryan, for me, is going to be a tough fade. I think he's in a great spot, great matchup in the Windy City. I am in on Joe Ryan. I don't mind that chalk squarely in play on both sites for me, 10-4 on DraftKings. And then Max Fried, I mean, Max Fried obviously coming off the complete game shutout of the hapless Marlins team that he played last time. Now goes on the road up to Seattle, take on the Mariners, who quite frankly aren't a very good offense. They've struggled all season long, struck out a bunch. I think Max Fried is fine. $8,700. He's going to be very popular. I think he's even better priced over on FanDuel. Just let me look at his price over on FanDuel real quick. I know it's dirt cheap, but I just want to get it right. $7,800. He's going to be very, very popular on both sites and for good reason. But for me, on Fried, his strikeout upside is just not what I think it needs to be. So I will go other ways, especially on FanDuel, because obviously you want the Ks, you want the quality starts over there. But I think he's still a great play. The three names that I want to mention up in this top tier is Nick Lodolo taking on this Padres team, $9,800. I really like Lodolo tonight to basically manhandle these Padres. We saw what this Philly staff did to them this weekend, especially Ranger Suarez, who's another lefty. Now you get hard throwing Nick Lodolo going up against them as well. Certainly don't mind him at $9,800. Then I want to talk about Garrett Crochet taking on these Twins. And I know we talked a little bit pre-show. Man, I love this matchup for Garrett. He's been absolutely dynamite at home, stymied the Braves in one of his home starts, dominated the Tigers in his other home start. I think these Twins have strikeouts up and down the board. Looking at his numbers at home, he's been very, very good at home. I'm all over Crochet today. Really like Crochet. And then my favorite pitcher in this range, you like Sanchez. I'm going with Pepio, especially on DraftKings. Much better price on DraftKings, $9,100. Great swinging strike stuffed, over 20% to right-handed hitters, 12% to left-handed hitters. And, hey, when you look at this Brewers lineup and you look at the power hitters, they don't get many barrels on the ball. I would be afraid of Rhys Hoskins and Willie Adames. Outside of that, I think Pepio can get to them. I really like Pepio tonight, and I really like his strikeout upside.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown up at the top. I agree with you, Joe Ryan. Obviously, the matchup, everything. I mean, that's the reason you're seeing a 10-4 pitcher when you got the Dodgers offense, the Phillies, right? High price offense, the Braves that people want to pay for. And Joe Ryan's still coming in around 40% plus. I think he's good. I think he's a great matchup. Obviously, SP1 for me here on the slate, all things considered. Not really scared of this White Sox offense, what they just did to the Tampa Bay pitching staff over the weekend here. That's going to happen, right? It's baseball at the end of the day. White Sox head back home. It is interesting to note, though, the White Sox this season at home strike out under 20% against right-handed pitching. Obviously, they see a very, very good righty here. right? Joe Ryan, 33% strikeout rate to both sides of the plate this season on the road. So it's going to be an interesting test. The White Sox are hitting the ball a little bit right now, but I'm still not worried about it too much. Just looking at Joe Ryan's last 30 numbers, he does struggle a little bit with the righties, the power hitting righties, fly ball guys to the righties. But looking at the White Sox roster overall, they just don't have too many of those. I mean, Martin Maldonado leads this White Sox team in terms of fly balls and power right now. So not worried about that too much overall. I do think Joe Ryan, SP1 for me. I actually like Ryan Pepiot quite a bit here. Looking at this Brewers offense, I mean, the Brewers have been very hot to start the season. I still think overall this is a very young team here. They're going to regress a little bit here. It is a decent hitter's park here in Milwaukee. Obviously, the Yankees just showcased that this weekend, scoring 40-some runs over the course of 3 or 4 games. But Ryan Pepiot has been lights out to start the season. He does struggle a little bit with some hard hits, but to what you alluded to, right? I mean, this Brewers offense overall, Jake Bauers is hitting cleanup. I know he's doing well, but Rhys Hoskins, Adames, William Contreras, yeah, those guys are scary. But outside of that, you got a lot of kind of low power lefties in there and some young talent. So I do like Pepiot at the top end with his strikeout upside. He kind of fits all the bill. Good control, strikeout upside. He does get hit hard a little bit, but at his projected ownership at this top tier, I do like him. Max Fried, man, it's tough for me to Max Fried. I want to be underweight. It's just tough, man. Max Fried looked great that last start. I get it. It's a different offense, but I haven't been impressed with this Mariners offense. Now gets a park upgrade as well. Going out to Seattle, right, in that park out there. It's hard. At his projected ownership, I think I like Sanchez more around him. I'll touch on Sanchez in a minute. You save the $300. You save a ton of ownership there. And then I have interest in Luis Severino as well. So I'm out on Garrett Crochet. I get the reasoning there. I'm just not going to attack this Twins offense. They're hitting the baseball very well right now. It's decent weather in Chicago as well. Some slight wind blowing out. Not slight wind, but about 10 to 13, 14 mile an hour winds blowing out to left field as well. I think he's going to regress a little bit here. I like this Twins offense. I believe in hot streaks in baseball. The Twins, I believe, won 7 straight so far. So I'm out on him. Give me Severino, give me Sanchez, give me Joe Ryan at the top, and Pepiot is kind of where I'm going up at this top tier. You can play other guys in there, but again, I'm looking to spend up at offense. We'll hit on offense next. So I'm probably going to be a little bit lower on the top tier, and I wrote that up in the slate plan. I'm going to try and live in this low to low 8K range, right? The Sanchez's, the Severinos. I like a couple cheaper pitchers as well that do have some tough matchups. And try and get away with that. So that's kind of where I'm going at the top tier. Let's go talk about the lower tier here. I do want to throw out one guy, Joe Boyle, here for you against this Pirates offense. Joe Boyle going to get a decent amount of ownership here. Obviously, it's a pitcher's ballpark out there in Oakland. 6,200 for him. Makes a lot work. Talk about him. Talk about Matt Waldron. Anyone else down here below 8K that you have interest in?
Yeah, I mean, just looking at these guys, it's my favorite of this bunch would be Yariel Rodriguez for the Blue Jays. Don't mind him at 7K. I know this Royals team, we love them at home. They haven't been as great on the road. Obviously, Skubal's a great pitcher, but Skubal limited their damage yesterday. So I like Rodriguez at 7K. I actually don't mind. I don't mind Joe Boyle. I don't mind picking on this Pirates team. They've been struggling for the better half of the last 2 weeks. So I don't mind Joe Boyle. I probably won't be getting there. I'll be doing most of my damage on FanDuel tonight. And so it's going to be upper tier pitchers. But if you're on DK, yeah, it's Rodriguez for me over Boyle and not really getting down anywhere else in this range.
Yeah, I do want to hit on Joe Boyle. Joe Boyle is very good against righties. Well, not very good, but solid against righties. This Pirates offense, they have 4 projected lefties, so he's going to see about 6 right-handed bats right now, or 5 right-handed bats, it looks like right now, if this lineup stays the same. I think Joe Boyle at his price as an SP2 can navigate that. He's terrible against lefties, so if the Pirates do throw more lefties in there, that's going to interest or kind of dictate what I do with Joe Boyle. But at his $6,200 price point in a pitcher's park, I do like that. I don't mind Bailey Falter on the other end as well, right? It's just a matchup play against this Athletics and a salary at 6,500. I like playing pitchers in Oakland. These are two below average offenses here. I'm going to touch on the Pirates a little bit when we get to bats, just mainly those lefties due to the struggles that Joe Boyle sees against lefties. But overall, this Athletics offense isn't a very scary offense in terms of that. So I don't mind either of those pitchers. And then the other guy I do want to bring up is Matt Waldron here. I like both sides of this. I'm going to be honest. I like the Reds offense a little bit. I'll touch on that. But Matt Waldron at his price at 6,800 here. Looking at the numbers, this Reds offense on the road this season in 20-plus plate appearances for many of these guys, 30-plus for quite a few of these bats. Strikeout over 40% against right-handed pitching on the road this season. Obviously, they play at home in one of the best hitting environments in baseball. Now they head out to San Diego. It's a different park. It's a pitcher's ballpark. Waldron, I think if he can limit the hard contact to some of these guys in there, I think he can get a nice score to be needed in terms of your roster at his $6,800 price point. So it's just a matchup play for me. These Reds outside of Great American Small Park strike out a lot on the road this season is what the numbers are showing. So I don't mind that. And then one other guy I will throw in tournaments as basically a sheer unowned guy is Bryce Wilson here from Milwaukee. I don't think this guy is a very talented pitcher overall, but this Rays team just looks absolutely horrendous right now. They were chalk all weekend long, and I just gladly took the Yankees over them all weekend long and printed money. He ranks very good in our metrics over here, and I trust our metrics and I trust our tools at SHIPIT Nation over here. Bryce Wilson's actually our second-ranked pitcher right now on the entire slate. When you look at StatCast data, you look at opposing lineup projections and home road splits of these teams. So I will throw him out as a sheer unknown guy at 6,600. If he can go out and get us 12 to 15 DraftKings points at his price point at sub 5% ownership, I think he could be a differentiator in that game. And you could see a pitcher's duel in Milwaukee between him and Pepio. So I will throw those guys out. Spewed a lot of nonsense up there, but overall, wanted to talk because I do think it's a pretty interesting pitcher slate because there's a lot of top-end arms that are in pretty good matchups, right? The Joe Ryans, the Max Frieds, but coming with heavy ownership. So I'm looking to get a little bit different on some of those and then try and make up for it and eat some chalk at bats is kind of what I'm looking to do. But go ahead and give your top 5 pitchers before we go game by game.
Yeah, I'm gonna give Joe Ryan as number 1. Although I'll be lower on Joe Ryan, I just don't think you said about the strikeouts. I don't think he can get there tonight. So I will still say he's number 1. My 2 favorite pitchers though that I'll be playing, Garrett Crochet, Ryan Pepio are kind of I call them 2A, 2B, and then Nick Lodolo and Max Fried would kind of round it out for me. I'm staying up there in the big boy price range tonight, not dipping my toe down there in the anything lower than 7K in Rodriguez.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown. I will say Joe Ryan, all things considered, SP1 for me on the slate. It's hard to ignore the spot. My second favorite pitcher is going to be Sanchez. I really like the spot. I'm not scared of this Angels offense outside of Mike Trout. It's a pitcher's ballpark in LA. I like the talent for Sanchez. So Sanchez at 8,400, going to be my second favorite guy. Then I'm going to go Ryan Pepio. Then I'm going to go Luis Severino. And then down at the bottom tier, I'm going to go Joe Boyle against that Pirates offense, especially if the only 4 lefties are cracking that lineup. Think he can do enough damage at his $6,200 price point as an SP2. Over on DraftKings, how much we talked pitching. Now let's kick it over and go game by game in terms of bats. We're going to start with Kansas City and Toronto here on the slate. 7:07 lock time here. Kansas City Royals, I've played them a lot. I've been known to play these Royals a lot. I like them again here tonight, facing Yariel Rodriguez here, who struggles with some command. He does have the strikeout stuff, but this Royals team loaded with power and speed throughout the lineup, and they got a lot of hitters throughout that heart of that lineup that smash right-handed pitching, especially on the road here. So break down this one, Kansas City and Toronto. I think both sides are interesting in terms of bats tonight.
Yeah, for me, it's no Royals for me. Rodriguez misses too many right-handed bats. I think he has that K upside to get there. So, yeah, no Royals for me. And then, yeah, we got this Bolin kid making his major league debut, if I'm not mistaken. Or I think he's thrown 20 pitches, but I think it's his first start of his career. Blue Jays slated to score almost 5 runs. So, hey, give me some Blue Jays. My favorite ones would be Bichette and Guerrero, assuming both of them are in the lineup, which they hold on, I do not see Bichette in the lineup, but Guerrero's in the lineup. So, yeah, like Guerrero tonight. That would kind of do it for me. I don't know. Is Bichette on the IL? I didn't see that if he did, but yeah, give me some Vlad tonight. It's tough to stack this Blue Jays team, man. They just always seem to disappoint. So it's just Vlad as a one-off for me.
Yeah, no, great breakdown. I'm a little bit different here. I'm off the Blue Jays side. I'm on the Royals side here, guaranteed nothing at bats. I don't know if it's a soft spot for me. Maybe it's a little combination of both. I just like teams. I'm going to talk about the Reds when we get to them. The Reds, basically, I like stolen bases. I like home runs. I really like Bobby Witt, really like Salvador Perez. Yuri Rodriguez does miss righties, but when he does get hit by righties, it's with power. Got 2 great power hitters there in Bobby Witt, Salvador Perez. Bobby Witt, obviously a cheat code as well in terms of stolen base upside. I'm just going to continue to stack this Royals team, especially here. Add in Vinny P. You got Michael Massey in there hitting 5th tonight behind Perez at 2,900. Nice value option at second base there. Nelson Velasquez, another power righty. So I like these Royals tonight. I'm off the Blue Jays. You can play Danny Jansen here tonight. I think Danny Jansen is a solid one-off at 3,900. You can play Vlad every night. But in terms of a stack, Royals do crack my top 5. Wrote them up over at the Nation here. Give me starting with Salvi Perez, Bobby Witt, and then add in and stack around those guys. But I am on the Royals here tonight. So we do differ there a little bit. Let's go over to New York. Severino on the mound, Talion on the mound. Not a game that I'm going to for bats here. I know some talks about Jameson Taillon here in the chat at 7,500. Some people have some interest in him. Some people are saying his numbers aren't going to stay the way they are, but he has looked decent this year. Any Mets for you? Any Cubs? Either side of this game in New York.
Yeah, if I was, I'll be lower on this game tonight. I mean, you said Severino. I just don't like Severino's K upside. Cubs team has been good. I'll probably stay away from the Cubs bats. And then as it relates to the Mets, it's righties for me, starting with Pete Alonso. He's in the confirmed lineup. JD Martinez is in the lineup. Your boy, former Milwaukee Brewer, Gary. See, I don't always say on the Brewers. Tyrone Taylor, T-Mobile in the lineup as a righty. So give me those righties in there. Vientos, who was the hero yesterday. Yeah, I mean, they obviously know. I mean, they stuck, 6 righties in there going up against a righty. Obviously, Taillon's a reverse splits guy. Give me those righties for the Mets. Really like them tonight against Jameson Taillon.
Yeah, no, I think you mispronounced that. I think you want the lefties there. And at least I want the lefties. If I'm going to the Mets, I want the lefties against Taillon. But, hey, we're a little bit different there. But overall, I don't have a lot of interest in this game. No interest in the Cubs. I do like Severino quite a bit here. I'm not scared of this Cubs offense. They got a lot of strikeouts throughout the middle of that lineup, all right around 30%. Michael Busch, Morel, Dansby Swanson, Ian Happ, Amaya. I know we played this Cubs offense quite a bit at home when it's a win game in Wrigley, but not going to attack Severino here. I like Severino quite a bit. So off the Cubs. In terms of the Mets side, I do like some of these lefties if I was going to them. But I like so many other offenses on the slate. You don't need to force this one with 9 games, 18 offenses to pick from. I'm under on this game as a whole in terms of bats. Don't want to spew some stuff that I think you don't need to go to. So you pop something up on the screen.
Yeah, someone was asking about. I don't think we have any interest in him. I don't think their lineup is out yet. But he looks to be. I don't even see him in. I see him second. If he's second, I don't think it's the worst play. But yeah, I don't think either of us will get there tonight. Yeah,
I think there's better values. I mean, you can never. I mean, guaranteed nothing at bats. Mike Tauchman has some power at 3,400 is a good price point as an outfielder. Obviously, you get 3 outfield spots as well that you can play. But I like other values more. I think he's fine. I just like other spots better, so I'm not going to get to him much. Kind of like this next game here. We go back to Milwaukee here. If you had interest, I'm assuming you have more interest on the Rays side because you did like Pepio quite a bit. But talk about Tampa, talk about Milwaukee Brewers here. Any interest in terms of hitters here in former Miller Park?
Yeah, no Rays for me. I mean, they just let us down all weekend long for the most part against that White Sox team. I think Richie Palacios hit 2 home runs one night. I still don't even think they're on the winner. But yeah, no Rays for me. Someone said Bryce Wilson is trash, which I don't disagree with. But like you said, got 18 teams to choose from. No Rays for me. And then if on my non-Pepio teams, I said it a minute ago, Reese Hoskins, really like Reese tonight. I think he can do some damage. Maybe even go over the fence. Let's see, where do we have him ranked on our hitter rankings? I need to check that. But yeah, give me some Reese Hoskins tonight. Don't mind him at all.
Yeah, in terms of this game, it would just be the lefties for me for the Rays. That's the reason I have interest in Bryce Wilson. Bryce Wilson's been solid, at least serviceable against the righties. He gets hit very hard against lefties and struggles with command against lefties, while the Rays lineup only has Palacios and Ben Rodervet right now, at least projected. So that's the reason at 6,600. I don't think Bryce Wilson, I opened the statement saying Bryce Wilson, I don't think he's a very good pitcher, but it's just a matchup. I like playing matchups in baseball. It's been working for me all season long. I'm going to continue to do what's been working. And if he faces 7 righties here, I think he can do enough at his price point. So not going to stack up these Rays. Richie Palacios at 4,700, a lefty in there with power. I think he's solid. But outside of that, I'm off this game in terms of bats on both sides. Don't want to attack Pepio. I think there's better spots to attack here. So no homerism, no homer Brewer stacks for Nades here tonight. Let's jump to this next game here. And I think this is an interesting one here to talk about it. It's decent hitting conditions there in Chicago, decent weather, some slight wind blowing out, but 2 good pitchers on the mound that both of us had some interest in. Twins coming to town red hot to face Garrett Crochet, guaranteed 9th inning at bats, and then Joe Ryan on the hill for the Twins against this White Sox team coming off a hell of a weekend against that Tampa Bay staff. Any interest in the bats? Do the White Sox keep it going against the chalk pitcher of the slate? And then any Twins, do they keep it rolling against your boy Garrett Crochet here?
Garrett Crochet is going to slice and dice this Twins team up. They were in LA all weekend, partied, scored 12 runs a game. I felt like now they travel to the Midwest, to the great city of Chicago. Hey, Garrett Crochet facing 9 righties. You just can't barrel him up, Nades. He's got a sub 5% barrel rate against righties, 18% swinging strike rate against righties. Lock and load Garrett Crochet. He's about to go ham today. In honor of ham, let's get 10 Ks, Crochet. That's my call. Garrett Crochet, 10 Ks. Obviously, we like Joe Ryan, so we're not going to play any White Sox.
Yeah, I actually don't mind some of these Twins. Just, Jose Miranda at 3,100, fly ball hitter with some power there, a nice righty. In his 11 plate appearances, he didn't strike out one time against left-handed pitching so far this season. I don't hate him, but I don't want to stack up this Twins offense. I just think some of these righties with some power at the price points, I think you could play. Jose Miranda, my favorite bat. Outside of that, not a ton of interest in either one of these sides. Joe Ryan does struggle with some power. So a Gavin Sheets, I don't think is a crazy play at his $3,400 price point. He's got some power there, a nice lefty, but another spot where I don't like a lot of bats. I like a lot of bats late here, which we're going to talk about. Starting with this next game, my favorite stack of the board here, Philadelphia Phillies, especially these lefties coming into Angel Stadium here to face Griffin Canning, who has looked absolutely horrendous to start the season here. I have no interest in the Angels, but I have a ton of interest in these Phillies. Talk about these Phillies and the Angels, Sanchez and Canning on the hill.
Yep, I'm in total agreement with you with these Phillies. They've been rocking and rolling. I think they sweep the Padres, or I know they won the first 2. I don't know about yesterday, but they've been dynamite. You know, Bohm hit a homer. Marsh hit a homer this weekend. Obviously, Harper and Schwarber are always in play. But I differ from you a little bit as it relates to these Angels. I mean, Sanchez is a ground ball pitcher, which we normally don't like to pick on, but in his 2 starts on the road, he struggled, Nate. He hadn't got out of the 5th inning in either game. Only made it 3 innings his last game in Great America Small Park. 4 in the 3rd inning the time before that. Hey, he struggled on the road. He's going to be facing a bevy of right-handed hitters. Obviously, Mike Trout, Taylor Ward would lead the charge. Anybody that can get fly balls off of him, I think, are good. But I think LA is going to be my sneaky stack of the night. I really like them as a contrarian, maybe a 3-man stack with the big dogs in it. I don't hate that at all. I think you can stack either side of this game, but the Angels will be my sneaky stack of the day.
Yeah, I'm I'll leave the Angels to you. You can have the Angels, and we'll see. Maybe I come to a screeching halt tonight. I've been riding pretty well, but I'm gonna ride the well here with the Phillies. I love these lefties, starting with Schwarber, starting with Bryce Harper, Brandon Marsh, Bryson Stott. Build around those, stack them up any which way. This team has a 203 expected ISO on the road this season against right-handed pitching. Think the Phillies are the highest scoring team on the slate. Love these Phillies tonight. My favorite stack of the board when you factor in their salaries, because they got a lot of guys that can round it out, like a Brandon Marsh, like a Castellanos, like a Bryson Stott, a Rojas, that make the stack overall a little bit affordable. Give me all the lefties first, build around them. And then no Angels for me. The only Angel I would say, Mike Trout, you can play him any slate, obviously, there, or a Logan O'Hoppe at 4,300 catcher position. But outside of that, not going to be going to these Angels. I'll leave the Angels to Hamwich over there and see if he can strike some gold with the low-owned Angels, but not for me here. Let's jump to probably my favorite overall game on the entire slate here. This next game, I love both sides of this slate. Both these two teams crack my top three in terms of offenses. It's the Dodgers. It's the D-backs. Dodgers very expensive, but the D-backs are very much more affordable here. Paxton's looks absolutely horrendous this season. D-backs might be my second favorite stack on the board behind the Phillies when you factor in their salaries. Love me some Arizona here. Love me some Blaze Alexander, Lawrence Gurriel, Christian Walker. I mean, I love this entire lineup. Power and speed throughout this lineup. Give me the D-backs here tonight. And then obviously the Dodgers, another day ending in Y. But it does get very expensive to stack up the Dodgers. Talk about this one out in Arizona. Tommy Henry on the mound, James Paxton, two pitchers that haven't looked very good, especially James Paxton.
Yeah, we finally agree on one, Nades. Yeah, all in, not all in, but you know what I mean. I'm with you on the Diamondbacks. I really like the Diamondbacks tonight. I mean, James Paxton is he's washed, man. He's not any good anymore. Terrible xFIP, terrible Sierra, terrible ERA on the road. No, I mean, he's got a good ERA on the road, but a terrible xFIP, and I think he's washed. And I think that the Diamondbacks can get to him tonight, especially the righties. Don't mind them, Marte, Walker, you name it, any righty that they have in there. I think I saw something earlier where Corbin is batting like 7th or 8th now. I don't know what's up with that. It's like the 7th or 8th straight game, and he's batting down there, obviously in the lower half of the order. So Blaze Alexander's leading off tonight. He's going to be popular. But yeah, give me those righties. And then on the other side, I mean, it's tough to fade those Dodgers, especially going up against Tommy Henry. The thing that we run into with the Dodgers is it's tough to full stack them because you can't full stack them and get, a Joe Ryan and, two good pitchers. So you got to mix and match and kind of figure out who you want to get, because those guys at the bottom of the order, they're very cheap, but they're also going to be coming out in the game in the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th inning once it gets close to that. So I'll be playing more minis of the Dodgers, and I think the full stack on the Diamondbacks is the way to go.
Yeah, I see the roof is open in Arizona as well. I haven't confirmed that. I just see the chat. So I'm trusting you, Matt Smith, in the chat saying the roof is open. But, yeah, I love the D-back side in terms of a full stack. The issue for me on the Dodgers is just the price points. I love Mookie Betts. I love Will Smith. Two power-hitting righties against the lefty, obviously lefty mashers in Mookie Betts, in Will Smith. Teo Hernandez hits lefties very well. Kiki Hernandez has hit Tommy Henry very well and hit lefties very well as well. But as soon as a righty comes in, Kiki Hernandez is getting yanked out of that lineup. But I do think at second base, 2,800, solid salary saver there. I expect him to be pretty popular. I expect the overall Dodgers offense to be decently popular here, but ownership should stay somewhat in check just due to the salary that it does charge to full stack them. But my favorite offense in this game is the D-backs. Love all of them. 1 through 9 firmly in play. Corbin Carroll, I get it. He is in a base slump. He's hitting 8th tonight at 5,400. Going to keep his ownership in check, and could be a good buy low spot here against James Paxton. I mean, looking at Paxton's last 30-day numbers, a 20% walk, or just about a 20% walk rate to both sides of the plate, a 12.4% strikeout rate. Now faces a team that strikes out at 13% against left-handed pitching at home and hits for a 200 ISO. I mean, I think the D-backs could be the highest scoring offense easily here tonight. So love me some Arizona. Dodgers, great play as well. My favorite game overall in terms of offense on the slate is coming from Arizona tonight. Let's jump into the next game here. Heading out to Oakland, Joe Boyle on the mound, Bailey Falter. Two pitchers that I have a decent amount of interest in is just stone punts, SP2 options on DraftKings in particular. But you got your boy, Esteury Ruiz here, likely going to be batting leadoff against the left-handed pitching. Esteury Ruiz finally back in that A's lineup. Has looked decent to start the season. Any interest in terms of these bats? On the Pirates side, I don't hate some of these lefties if the lefties are in there. Led by the charge, my boy, ex-Brewer, Rowdy Tellez here, 3,100, likely slated to hit cleanup here tonight against Joe Boyle, who's looked horrendous against lefties. So I wouldn't be on any of these righties for the Pirates, just the lefties mini stack for me. Talk on Pirates and Oakland.
Yeah, this is a unique game to break down, man, because both these teams are just horrendous. We got a great pitcher's ballpark, but both these pitchers have been bad, in my opinion. I mean, Joe Boyle been absolutely abysmal at home. You talk about the lefties. I'm okay with the lefties and the righties because Boyle's been horrendous. And then on the flip side, I mean, Bailey Falter struggled on the road as well. XFIP over 5 on the season. Ruiz, you talk about if he's leading off, looking pretty good. And we saw what those A's did in Baltimore this past weekend. It was they hit 3 or 4 home runs yesterday. So, who knows? I mean, I don't mind them at all. I would prefer the A's at home versus Falter than the Pirates. The Pirates have been struggling. The A's have been hot. You give me some Ruiz. It's going to be tough to full stack either team. It'd be either a one-off or a mini on both sides, but I do prefer the A's in this one.
Yeah, let me clarify. I'm not full stacking either side of this game. It would just be the mini stacks for the Pirates, the lefties in particular, Rowdy Tellez, Jack Suwinski, my two favorite guys there. O'Neal Cruz, if he's in there. But shortstop's a valuable position. I like a lot of shortstops. Obviously, Bobby Witt. I like Ellie De La Cruz. We're going to get to in the next game. Many other shortstops as well. Mookie Betts, right? So just the lefties for me on the Pirates. And then the A's, my favorite bat would be Esteury Ruiz as a one-off. Tyler Nevin, I don't think is a terrible play as well if he's in there. But more interest in the Pirates. So we differ a little bit there. Another spot. I just like the guaranteed 9th inning at bats. And Joe Boyle's just looked horrendous against lefties. So mini stack only for me on the Pirates lefties in this game. Two more games to talk about here. Let's talk the next one here. The Cincinnati Reds, who lead the MLB in stolen bases. They do have some power throughout that lineup that we've seen as of late. My boy Nick Martini is slated to be in there. But I really like me some Ellie De La Cruz here against Matt Waldron. Talk about this one. I do think we could have the ability to see a pitcher's duel here, Nick Lodolo, Matt Waldron. But some of these Reds could get there just on stolen bases alone. Talk about Cincinnati. Talk about San Diego. Any interest in terms of bats? Not a very high total overall in this game, but stolen bases add up quickly in terms of daily fantasy scoring, and that's what we play.
Yeah, man, you're kind of like the Reds and the Royals whisper. Yesterday you cored Dane Dunning, and all he did was go and throw 10 Ks and shut them down. Hey, your Reds better than anybody, I feel like. But, yeah, don't mind this Reds team. I mean, Waldron's pretty bad, but the Reds struggle on the road against right-handed pitching as well. I have more interest in the Reds than I do the Padres. I won't have any Padres. I have a ton of interest in Lodolo. Then if it was going to be the Reds for me, it would be those lefties that you just mentioned, Ellie De La Cruz, Will Benson at the top. It'd be, 1 or 2 off with those guys or a mini. Both of those guys, power, speed, combos. They can both hit a fence. They can both also turn a single into a triple with 2 stolen bases. So, yeah, give me Will Benson. Ellie De La Cruz would be the only 2 that I have interest in. And then no Padres for me. I think Lodolo mows this team down.
Yeah, no Padres. I'm off the Padres here. I'm just not a Fernando Tatis, you can play him any slate, I think. Eguy Rosario's have very good numbers at 2,600. He's basically been boomer bust in terms of his numbers. But I like Lodolo more than I like the Padres offense. So off the Padres, don't think Lodolo is the craziest pitcher play at 9,800 as a pivot off of Joe Ryan at the top there with a similar ceiling. But I don't mind some of these Reds. It's just Ellie De La Cruz would be my favorite. But again, I just don't like playing bats out in San Diego a ton here. It's just the nature of the slate. And this Reds team as a whole has struck out. I mean, looking at, they have 7 hitters that strike out 25+% against right-handed pitching on the road in all 20+ plate appearances. I mean, Martini, 38.5% strikeout rate. Candelario, 50% strikeout rate. India, 30% strikeout rate. Ellie De La Cruz, even a 32% strikeout rate. Your leadoff hitter and Will Benson in 32 plate appearances strikes out at 41%. So while Waldron's not a crazy strikeout pitcher, he's 20% on the season at home. It's just a matchup here. So I do like a little bit of both sides just due to the Reds being able to steal bases. I haven't looked at Waldron's stolen base numbers too much, but the Reds run on anybody. And I don't think they're going to change just because Matt Waldron's on the mound, right? And Luis Campusano's behind the dish. So give me some Reds, but also give me some Waldron. Kind of the sissy way out in this game. But if Waldron does go out there and shut him down, the Reds could also get there just on stolen bases alone, I think.
It's tough to steal first base, Nades. I've yet to see it this year. Maybe the Reds will be the first to do it. If they can steal first, then they're in for a hell of a night.
Right. Exactly. So, yeah, I have more interest in Waldron, I think, than I do on the Reds. But I did write up the Reds in our slate plan over at SHIPIT Nation just due to their upside. I mean, they got power and speed throughout the lineup. And anytime you have that, they can pop off and break a slate. And especially when they're at low ownership, I'm going to have interest anytime they're on the slate and nobody's going to be playing them. Let's jump to the last game here. We got the Braves at under a 4.5 run total, which is kind of crazy to say, but due to them being out in Seattle in that ballpark, Bryce Miller on the mound. Bryce Miller has been known to get hit pretty hard. The Braves are going to have absolutely no ownership here tonight. Last game of the slate, are you getting to Atlanta, this offense? Max Fried on the hill for the Braves. No interest for me in terms of the Mariners. Any interest last game of the slate for you?
Yeah, I'm not picking on Max. I mean, it's tough. This guy's got a 70% ground ball rate to righties, and we should see 7 to 8 righties tonight in this lineup. He's got a sub 5% barrel rate against righties. I mean, you know, his struggles early in the season was his command and control, walking people, getting people on base. So I think he hopefully has slowing that down, right? We saw it last game against the Marlins. Similarly bad offense. I mean, the Mariners have a right above a 3 implied run total. So definitely no Mariners for me tonight. The projected lineup has Julio Rodriguez batting first, which is a change. He's used to batting second. So it'd be Julio Rodriguez if I was going to play anybody, if he was batting leadoff, but I probably won't get there just because of his stolen base upside as well. And then, man, I wanted to play these Braves so badly, Nades. You said it. Nobody's going to have them. But just looking at their numbers, it's tough to do. I mean, Bryce Miller's been a respectable pitcher this season, over a 25% K rate from both sides of the plate. Does give up some fly balls to lefties. And if we're going to be playing that game, I would have interest in just one Brave, really, and that's Ozzie Albies would be my favorite Brave. He would be a one-off. I don't think we could full stack this team tonight, though.
Yeah, I'm not going to full stack either. I just hate this ballpark. I like the other offenses a lot more. And at the salaries of the Braves, if I'm paying up for the Braves, I get it. They're going to be low owned. I just rather pay for the Phillies. I'd rather play for the Dodgers. Obviously the D-backs, these other teams that we already talked about. So for me, I'm out on this game in terms of bats. You can always play an Ozuna, who's red hot at the dish right now, or has been. Obviously Acuna anytime. Some of these Braves are kind of falling in the category. You can play them anytime. They're on the slates. But for me, I like the other offenses more. So I'm going to be under on this game in terms of bats as well. That's all 9 games. Talk pitching, talked hitters. How much you want to give a home run call? I'll throw it over to you. Do you have a home run call for the evening here? Who's hitting one over the wall tonight?
Home run tonight. I'm gonna go Milwaukee. I'm gonna make all my Wisconsin fans happy. Give me Rhys Hoskins. I love Pepio, but I think Rhys Hoskins can get to Pepio and take one over the wall tonight. Rhys Hoskins, my home run call of the day.
All right. Well, I'm going to the first game on the slate. He's going to get us started with a nice 14-spot minimal. Salvador Perez taking Rodriguez deep here tonight in Toronto. Absolutely love me some right-handed power from Big Salvi Perez here tonight. I'm different than you. You're off the Royals. I'm on these Royals. I like the Royals. I love me some Salvador Perez here tonight at the catcher position, all the way up at the top at 4,700 against Yariel Rodriguez. How much? Any closing remarks for the people before we get on out of here?
Yeah, no closing comments. Good luck tonight in everyone's contest. Let's have us a good night. We need a shipper. I know we've been close a couple times. We need to see a 100K shipper for that SHIPIT Nation. We need a logo in the winner circle tonight. Either site.
Yeah, and if you guys want to throw that logo up, feel free to do so. But if you want access to all of our premium content behind the paywall, use that promo code HOOP15, gets you 15% off any membership plan for life. You do sign in for all access, get all access to all of our sports. Takes it down to under $2 a day for that, $58 a month it comes to with that promo code. But that's going to do it today for the show here at SHIPIT Nation. For Hamwich, I'm Nadesify. Good luck tonight in your contest. Hope to see those logos at the top. Let's ship it.